Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Public trading of insults between Prime Minister Keith Rowley of Trinidad and Tobago and ex-Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 26th August 2022. Details when we return.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago says he gave Gary Griffith a chance to serve as TNT's top cop and has described that as his biggest mistake. Meanwhile, Mr. Griffith says Trinidad and Tobago's biggest mistake is the election of Dr. Keith Rowley as Prime Minister. TV6's Jewel Brown reports.
I wake up one day, look in the papers, and I see assault weapons being offered for sale in the newspapers. And I realized that I had made a terrible mistake.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley during the PNM's public meeting on Tuesday night, as he spoke about the high level of violent crimes, including murders, committed in Trinidad and Tobago with the use of firearms. The Prime Minister referred to the appointment of Gary Griffith, who once served as National Security Minister during the UNC-led PP administration and had been appointed Police Commissioner for a 3-year term during the present PNM administration.
I took the position as Prime Minister that if the best person for the job was a non-PNM person or a person who had served this country in another political party, if he or she was the best person for the job, they should get the job. And that is why when the commission said that Gary Griffith was the best person for the job as Commissioner of Police, I take responsibility for giving him a chance. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the biggest mistake I've ever made.
Former Police Commissioner Griffith, who has formed his own political party, the National Transformation Alliance, or NTA, offered a direct response to the Prime Minister in a video-recorded statement.
So we have seen now that Keith Rowley's hatred for Gary Griffith. He has now made a statement stating that this was the biggest mistake of his life. No, Keith Rowley, the biggest mistake in Trinidad and Tobago's 60 years was selecting you as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and we will ensure that that is changed very soon.
Mr. Griffith gave his recollection of what happened when he was appointed Police Commissioner via the government's majority in the House of Representatives. The opposition had abstained from the vote.
I got the highest number of points in 2018 when I applied for the position as Commissioner of Police. The Police Service Commission placed me fourth, and you went out of your way. Was it that in the hope that I will have some type of malice against the opposition and target political opponents? No, Keith Rowley. Unlike certain individuals, I do not put politics before what is right for the country. I swore an oath in office and I did what was correct. And it seemed that was the concern.
Mr. Griffith said the government should be focused on the number of illegal guns being used by criminals in Trinidad and Tobago.
Because, Keith Rowley, you should tell the country who is a very senior government minister that harassed me constantly to provide explosives for a friend in Tobago, to get explosives without an OSHA approval. Who was the person who harassed me to get special firearms for himself to kill pigs? But you know what? It's okay when government officials have all of their security to protect themselves, but they want to get their own firearms fast-tracked. But what I was doing was ensuring that law-abiding citizens could get firearms to protect themselves from criminal elements.
Mr. Griffith has said he has reapplied to serve another term as Trinidad and Tobago's top cop. Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
In another item from Port of Spain, the Contractors and General Workers Union has relayed correspondence from the Chief Personnel Officer, highlighting what the union says is a final offer in relation to the wage negotiations for the 6-year period. The CGWU calls it a bullying tactic. Alicia Boucher of TV6 News tells us more.
President of the Contractors and General Workers Union, Ermin Mead, says on Tuesday she received correspondence from the Chief Personnel Officer concerning daily paid workers in the San Fernando City Corporation. The union has rejected a 4% offer made for 2 bargaining periods spanning from 2014 to 2019. And Mead states that while there was agreement concerning certain articles of the collective agreement, changes were made in relation to other articles. She says the CPO's memo indicated the following.
And I will read, further to our last meeting on August the 3rd, 2022, I wish to reiterate that this represents the final offer in respect of negotiations.
According to the union, that position has been taken concerning both bargaining periods, despite only having 3 negotiation meetings prior to that correspondence.
So they are bullying the unions to accept what they have placed on the table. And we are not accepting what is placed on the table at all.
According to Mead, the salaries of these daily paid workers range from $235 to $398 per day.
And the highest paid worker who is being paid $398 is only 5 workers. So the majority of workers are at the lower strata. Also with that minimal increase, it is also putting you in a different tax bracket. And also, your NIS could be increased also. So really and truly, the workers continue to be in a worse off position. And no one is putting that out there.
Meanwhile, the CGWU says Lake Asphalt workers remain uncertain about their future and they are frustrated. The union states that it is still awaiting an invitation from the Ministry of Works and Transport for a walkthrough of the plant to assess its operations. The Mead says there is acknowledgement that the government would not be able to continue paying subventions to fit the salary bills of these workers. However, she claims that a letter was sent to Minister Rohan Sinanan requesting an urgent meeting to discuss the way forward.
To date, as I speak, the minister didn't even see it fit to acknowledge that letter that was sent on the 5th of July.
She says the same applies to another letter delivered to the ministry on August 16th. According to the CGWU, it is being forced to get information from the media, which it labels as improper protocol. The union is calling for direct engagement from the minister in relation to the future of Lake Asphalt. Debik Mead was speaking at the Movement for Social Justice Tuesday night talks. Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In other news, Grosley Member of Parliament Kenson Casimir is about to launch what he calls a Skills 758 certification program in the constituency to help youngsters at risk get off the streets and engage in meaningful activity. Don Nicholas of the DBS News World reports.
The issue of gun violence continues to be a source of major concern, this time to Grosley MP and Youth and Sports Minister Kenson Casimir, who has been experiencing an upsurge in his constituency. As a result, a Skills 758 program using the ministry's database will soon be implemented, giving young persons, especially those at risk, an opportunity to get qualified in their fields of endeavor in an effort to take them off the streets. This is seen as one of the ways to curb violent behavior.
Of course, the Ministry of Sports and Youth, we've engaged in a number of programs so as to get persons off the street into meaningful activities. One of the things you'll be seeing coming very soon is Skill 758, where persons will be able to get their resumes and some of the stuff that they want to get into with the ministry's database so that we can start executing some of the programs for them.
In terms of sports, the after-school programs will commence come September, complemented by the refurbishment of a number of sports facilities around the island. To this end, sports administrators came together last Saturday to discuss the implementation of various programs and to collaborate with other agencies going forward.
Very good conference for all associations in St. Lucia. We have about 22 associations. We had 21 of them in attendance. and that is to sit at the table and to discuss sports administration, which is very important for developing some of the programs that I just spoke about as it pertains to dealing with the scourge of crime. We had very meaningful discussion on how we get corporate sector involved in sports development in St. Lucia, and we've spoken at length about the Ministry of Education partnering with all the associations to ensure that there's grassroots sports development. So all in all, we've decided that we're going to need to do this more often. It has not been done for a very long time. The information was that it's never happened, and so we will applaud it as a ministry and seek to continue to engage all stakeholders to ensure that we continue to develop sports in St. Lucia.
As usual, financing is the biggest hurdle, and sporting associations are looking at ways to overcome this challenge. For the DBS News World, I'm Don Nicholas.
Guyana expects to benefit from the expansion of its national economy this year from proceeds of its newly established oil industry.
The Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, in a new economic survey published on Tuesday, noted that economic growth in the region is expected to be about 2.7% this year. This follows a 6.5% growth rate in 2021 and signals the path of low growth in the region. But Guyana seems to be a standout during this era of low growth. According to ECLAC, it is now projected that Guyana's gross domestic product, GDP, will expand by a whopping 52% this year. Because of Guyana's expected growth, the Caribbean should record a 10.2% rate of growth. Excluding Guyana, the expected growth drops to just about 4.7%. Gross domestic product simply refers to the monetary value of all finished goods and services made within a country during a specified period. Much of Guyana's expected gains this year have been attributed to the nascent oil and gas sector and the surging cost of energy and food around the globe. ECLAC noted that Guyana will earn much more for selling its oil internationally. But as Guyana gets more money, ECLAC noted that the country is not spared by the harmful effect of inflation being experienced around the world. With this phenomenon, simply consumers are paying much more for the same goods and services. Notably, however, Guyana is expected to face the lowest level of inflation. This means that while consumers will grapple with surging costs for items, it is not as bad as the editors group ECLAC mentioned.
Mexico and Cuba have reported the deaths of 2 people who tested positive for monkeypox, although they do not attribute the deaths to the fatal disease.
The reports follow monkeypox-related deaths reported in Brazil and Ecuador in the past month, but fatalities remain extremely rare in the current outbreak. The Pan American Health Organization has reported at least 21,200 confirmed cases of monkeypox in the Americas, and over 80 countries worldwide have reported new cases of the illness, which is endemic in parts of Africa. Mexico's health ministry on Tuesday said experts were investigating the death of an HIV-positive patient who had died from septic shock and pneumonia after testing positive for monkeypox. Mexico has reported 386 confirmed and 862 probable cases of monkeypox infection. Cuban authorities said a 50-year-old Italian man died on Sunday after being diagnosed with monkeypox on Saturday. The Public Health Ministry said the tourist who had arrived on August 15th had been in an unstable condition since Thursday and rapidly deteriorated. The ministry pointed to an autopsy report that reported the cause of death as sepsis linked to pneumonia and organ damage. The World Health Organization has warned that people with underlying immune deficiencies could be at risk of more serious symptoms and death after contracting monkeypox. Nearly 42,000 monkeypox infections have been reported worldwide since May.
Conveniently located in the Grandand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grandhands will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.